All right, we're live, and there's Robbie's head.
How's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, good, good. There we have John Butler. If he wasn't married to a beautiful woman, he'd be the most eligible man on this planet. I tell you right now.
I like to give Rock and Vin Diesel a little run for their money here.
Well, they're lucky you're a taken guy. So we have with us Shelly. Shelly, how you doing?
I'm good.
Other than your broken arm, you took a bit of a fall yesterday. Icy conditions.
Yeah, other than that, I'm always good.
4 weeks
Welcome
in the cast.
to Canada.
So before we get going with our special guest Shelly and get a little bit into your story, perhaps give us a quick explanation as to what happened with your arm. John, any announcements or anything at all coming up?
No, I don't think so, other than for the same announcement I give every week for everybody that is watching. If you get a chance, click on that StreamYard.com/Facebook link there. That's in the description, and just give StreamYard permission to use your name on this. That way when you write comments and I look up here, I can see who's actually commenting, and it doesn't come through as just Facebook user. We'd like to see who you are.
This is true. So feel free to ask any questions. These are pretty relaxed live streams when we have a special guest on, which we do, I would say, about half the time or more. And I've known Shelly probably for about 10 years or more. Anybody who's been in Canada on the photographic scene, especially via PPOC and what have you, would have definitely heard of and or known her. She's quite active in print competitions as well. And there's a lot of, I have like 8 or 9 or 20 questions shooting off into my brain, because that's just the way my brain works. But Shelly, the first thing I want to ask you though is maybe give us a quick summary of what got you into photography and where you're at now. I just want to let everybody know too, go to theartofportraiture.com. That's Shelly's website, and you'll see for yourself the amazing high quality work she does. And perhaps we'll get into some of the more specifics. I really want to talk to you, and I want to answer the question that you mentioned earlier in regards to Aura McKay, who you asked, or you mentioned to her, you said, I can't give my stuff away. And you kind of solved that problem. But Shelly, I'm going to hold...
Aura solved it.
Yeah, well, she helped you, right? So, but I also want to touch on the topic before I forget of, you are a big believer in coaching, looking for help externally, which is, you and I are on the exact same page on that area. Last 40 years of my life, I've really plugged into that, and it has made all the difference in my life, because it helps push one to higher levels, because a coach will see things from an objective viewpoint and help you get that kick in the butt that we all need. So, but anyways, we'll get into that stuff. Shelly, maybe you can just give us a quick summary of your photographic life.
Well, I started off as a speech pathologist, so photography is my second career. I was a speech pathologist working exclusively with children with autism for 20 years, and my husband had Parkinson's, which was diagnosed well into our marriage. And then he developed cancer, and then he had a quadruple bypass. And at that point, I quit my job. Well, they wouldn't let me quit. They gave me a year off. So during that year off, I picked up a camera.
What year was that roughly?
That was 2001.
Okay.
So 2002, I was taking photographs in my basement. I still take photographs in my basement and in my upstairs big studio, which is a living room, which is about 13 by 23. So I did lose my husband to cancer, but when I quit my job, I said, I'm not, well, I retired. I retired from speech pathology. I said, I'm not going back to work ever. Okay. So don't talk to me about that.
Can I ask you a question on that?
Then I was hooked.
Can I ask you a question on that? Were you motivated to not go back because you were so inspired to get into photography, or was it other stuff that sort of realigned your...
Kind of both. When I think we learn the meaning of life at some point, some people sooner than others. I was 48 when I was widowed. And when my husband was obviously terminal, I just realized life's too short to spend it. I loved my job. I was passionate, but I am a creative, and I buried that.
Okay. That's powerful.
Picking up the camera really, and I wanted to be a wildlife photographer when, you know, not as a hobby. And I quickly learned you need a really big lens that's really heavy, and you have to be out at 5 in the morning and 11 at night when the animals are active. And yeah, I wasn't a morning person at that time. So I didn't like people getting in the way of my photos. And now I'm a portrait photographer and I absolutely love it. Yeah.
That's amazing.
So I quit my job. I picked up a camera and I took 5 courses at SAIT on my way to the certificate of photography. I really could have taught the intro and the intermediate course, the first 2 courses, because every camera I bought, I read it from cover to cover, and it used to tell you all about what aperture did, and you know, like it gave you really the basics. But I never practiced any of that stuff. I shot on P for professional.
Right.
I never had the time to really practice what I knew. So once I got into SAIT, they force you to kind of practice.
What is SAIT? Sorry.
Southern Alberta Institute of Technology.
Yeah, I lived in Edmonton. They had the NAIT in
NAIT is a much higher. SAIT is you pass if you show up for 80% of the classes.
All right.
NAIT is a graded true photography school.
Okay.
I believe there's a difference between the two. So after I finished my 5th course, I joined PPOC in 2004. And I was just learning so much more than I was at SAIT that I never went back to SAIT. And in 2006, I took 4 trophies in provincials.
Didn't take you long.
I started competing immediately. I got my first accreditation. I joined actually October 2003, and they gave me the year free. And so I started really in 2004. So April was the first accreditation. I got it first try. Don't ask me how I look at those images now and go, oh my God. And then I got I knew I had to have 2 to get my master's. I was nowhere near my master's yet. But after I got those, like, I think I got my 2nd accreditation the 2nd year. And, but I only have 2 accreditations. I'm going to go back for some more now. No. But if you can get 60 points for 1 image and
that's
30 points for 10, like I went straight to competition. Well, and I learned so much in competition, but that's not all. I went to every workshop. We used to have a marketing workshop once a year. We had 2-day workshops like in Waterton and, you know, around the place, around Calgary. And I went to everything that was offered. I was at every monthly meeting. And then I've signed up a lot of people into PPOC, and they said, oh, wow, am I going to learn all this? I said, yes, over time. You know, you don't just pick it all up in like 1 year, you're going to know, you know.
Yeah.
And I spent about $600 a month. At one point, I looked at how much am I spending on my education, and it was $600 a month. Wow. So I do mentor students one-on-one now, and I do charge. And I am an open book. But I'm not going to dump a bunch of knowledge on somebody that they're not ready for. So if somebody says, oh, if I take this lighting class, am I going to know everything I need to know about lighting? No, you're going to pick up what you're able to pick up at this point. You could take my class again next year and pick up more. I could take the same class 5 times, and every time I'll get something new.
So it's not just about getting a really nice camera.
Well, this is the mistake we all make when we start, right? We take a 2-day workshop with someone who, and it's like, oh, what camera are you using? And well, they're showing you, right? Sometimes they're sponsored by Nikon or Canon or whatever. And then they're using this reflector, and they're using this softbox, and you go out and you buy all the stuff that they're using because it's going to make you a better photographer. And no, what makes you a better photographer is putting your work in front of people that have eyes that see things differently than you, and getting feedback.
Yeah.
So you said an important, you made a comment a few minutes ago that you learned so much more once you joined. And I'm assuming that is because you got around other professionals. Obviously the workshops played a huge role. So versus somebody going to SAIT and taking the program, which I would imagine is just a very narrow track. insofar as learning what you need to learn in order to be a good photographer, but a good photographer in business as well.
Yes, and I'll admit the first many years I spent perfecting my craft, and the last several years when I started running out of my inheritance, because you know how you make $1 million as a or how you end up with $1 million as a photographer? Yeah, you start with 2 million.
So
now I'm working on actually making $1 million.
You blew your retirement fund.
It wasn't all on photography and learning and coaching. I did some real estate investing, which was not a good thing. So.
That didn't pan out for you?
No, I wouldn't recommend it.
So let me ask you this. I just want to dwell on that topic, even if it's a little uncomfortable for you. It may or may not be. Just tell me to shut up if it is.
I'm an open book. I'm an open book.
Well, yeah, I
want to help new photographers not make the mistakes I made.
Yeah.
Right. Buying equipment you don't need. So if you have a one-on-one mentor, and like I had one student, we went to a national convention. I said, do not buy anything unless you come talk to me. She bought a virtual background program for $13,000. Yeah. I don't think she used it. I don't know what I gave her heck.
Exactly.
I almost
stay away from Nikon and Sony and stay with Canon. That's what you're saying.
Oh yeah. Well,
sorry, I had to throw that in there because of Rob.
What did you want to ask, Robert?
Yeah. What's that, Shelley?
What did you want to ask?
I forgot now. It'll come back to me. The fireworks in my brain are going off, and all the different. It was to do with So, but you and I believe, are around the same age. So you're like 38 years old. You got a lot of.
29. No, I'm 3 this year and proud of it. Yeah.
Pardon me?
I'm 63 this year and proud of it.
Yeah, I'm 63 in July. So yeah, we were born in
July too.
There we go. On July 26th. Okay, you're a Cancer. I'm a Leo.
I'm a Leo too. Yeah, but I'm only going to be 49 this year. So
John's still a baby. but here's the thing, though. I listened to you talk about how much money and energy you put into spending, and probably you might feel that you kind of maybe overspent. I don't know. You brought it up. You brought up the amount. Maybe you don't feel that way, because in the end, and where you're at now, all of what you had done so far kind of made who you are. And I'm going to guess, tell me if I'm wrong, or run with it if you want to. The age is irrelevant. I can see myself going well into my 80s as long as I don't fall and slip on ice and get a whatever. Because I feel very, very, I still, I feel very healthy and capable. So knock on wood, hopefully that continues. So, but back to you, Shelley, in reference to where you're at right now, vis-a-vis all of those experiences. And I'm going to guess that you feel in some sense, or in many senses, that you are just finding your stride right now. Boom. Is that right? Like things are looking really rosy.
Well, I feel a lot more focused, and
okay.
I wouldn't. I learned fairly quickly what not to waste my money on. So I bought lights with poor guidance, 800-watt lights. They weren't too expensive, but they weren't too cheap.
They're powerful.
But I'm in a 13-foot wide studio. Mm-hmm. I don't need 800 watts unless I want to shoot at f/22.
Yeah.
And I'm a 5.6er. So I learned, I got rid of those, but it was really hard because I can't sell something to somebody that I know isn't right for them. Right. So, I won't do that. I feel I have integrity. So I finally did find somebody that could use them because of the work they did. Mm-hmm. And I bought Ellen Chromes, which aren't pro photo or whatever. They're not the top of the line, but my gosh, I'm still using the same lights I've added. I started off with 1 and now I'm at 5 in one studio and 3 in the other.
Yeah. You have 2 studios?
I have a basement studio and it's my white room. And it has a fake window going into my storage room with a 4x6 light behind it. Right. So it looks like a window. And it's only a 7-foot ceiling. So it's okay for some stuff, but it's not, if you've got a 6-foot tall person and you're trying to do stand shots. My 9-foot ceiling in the living room is much better.
So you have a home studio situation.
Yes.
So you wake up in the morning, you're at your studio, you're at work, good to go. Do you like that? I've always loved the idea. Yeah,
I love it. When I was a speech pathologist, I worked 5 minutes from here, and when traffic just got worse and worse, and I was spending 30 to 45 minutes one way to get to work, and so work. You know, I get dressed every morning. I don't understand. I don't understand working in your PJs. I'm up. I do my morning routine. I take my dog for a walk, fall on the ice, go to merge. But I get dressed, and I'm pretty focused.
Yeah, that's important. I'm with you on that one. I always recommend to anybody, if you're got nothing going on, I mean, just dress up and shave and get ready like as if you got a whole pile of stuff going on. Greet the day with the right mindset. So obviously you do that. Interesting. So you're in your home studio. How long have you had that home studio set up as an actual business where you've been bringing in clients and shooting? Well,
I started shooting in 2002. 2004, I joined PPOC, and I got my accreditation in 2004, and I felt like I was a professional photographer. And then 2006, I started winning awards.
Is that a feeling? Is that a feeling? I felt like I was a professional photographer.
I felt like I was a professional. And when I got my master's, I did not feel like a master. No. What keeps us humble, I believe it keeps all photographers humble, is we only put out our very best, right? We only show people, we only show our clients the best of a session. And then we only, I only show on Facebook or my website ones that my clients have ordered, so they loved them. And then I've retouched them as to the level that I would for competition. I might still miss things because I'm still learning. But I see all the other stuff that I don't show people. That's what keeps us humble, right?
Does that hold you back? I know what you're talking about. Sometimes I'm like, nah, good enough. They'll never spot it. My wife is like, no, you got to fix it. And I'm like, no, it's good enough. So I'm a bit more of a slacker in that area.
I'm not a good enougher. No, I'm not a good enougher. And
you're a perfectionist. Or is that too harsh?
I'm a recovering perfectionist because I've gotten a lot better. I rebranded from SVP Photography to the Art of Portraiture. And if you want to bring up my website for a second.
Go for it, John.
I photograph from womb to tomb. So the top photo there is a composite of 4 portraits.
I was going to ask you about that. That's awesome.
Yeah, and it is 72 inches wide.
How big?
And 72 inches wide and 30 some inches tall, and it is along the wall between my dining room, which is my consultation room, and my studio. So it hangs on these. It's really cool. And everybody who comes in says, oh, we should do something like that. I haven't booked another one, but everybody says they should.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Tim Kelly. Tim Kelly does a lot like that.
Yeah. And the other thing they say is, I wish I would have, right? I wish I would have done something like that while mom and dad were alive, or grandma and grandpa.
Oh.
This is 3 generations. So there's grandma and grandpa, 4 children, their spouses, and their kids. So if you scroll up, I photograph from womb to tomb. So this is womb at the left there, and this is the art of a mother. And then you go down, and we've got the baby. The art of a baby. And when you click on that, it takes you to different milestone portfolios. And then, but we're not going to do that. And then the art of a toddler, because if you have a 2-year-old and you're thinking, oh, well, you might see one image in somebody's portfolio of a toddler. Well, I can show you what I can do with 2-year-olds. I worked with kids with autism that were 2 years old. I can work with kids. So the next section, these storybook portraits, I am having so much fun. They're 3-dimensional sets. Yes, Robert, you really motivated me to develop some stuff here. So did Larry Hertzberger.
Nice.
I have some off-the-wall sets, as you can see.
Yeah.
But I create 3-dimensional. It's not just a backdrop, and it's not photoshopped in. Some stuff is that fish hanging from the little boy's thing. pole there, that's photoshopped. Ripples in the water, a little bit of stuff photoshopped in. The lights on the trees in the Christmas one. But somebody said, was Santa really there? Because we're in COVID this year, right? And I said, yes, he was. So I didn't do Santa this year. He's $200 to bring in.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I can't do like Robert and do 5 sessions in a day. I can do 1. I'm in a condo complex. I have the base level of business license. So you go down and you've got, so that's what I'm having the most fun with right now and spending a lot of marketing on. Then you have the art of a child. The art of a teen is after that. And then the art of a grad. And then you have the art of a family. And then you have the art of a woman. So I do from business portraits to nudes. And to me, photographing women is about allowing them to express who they are. Like, you're a woman, you're a mother, you're a daughter, you're a sister, you're an aunt, you're a, you're an employee, an employer. You have all these roles, but who are you really in your heart and your soul? It's an opportunity for a woman to play and express herself.
Definitely.
And then there's the art of a man. And that second portrait I absolutely love. That's Michael, my boyfriend. That was created during a 2-hour lighting workshop for PPOC. And then I added a photo from Kananaskis and the moon, also photos that I took. And then the art of a pet. So I photograph all genres. I had the advice of pick a lane and stick to it. But I don't get enough of anything to stick to one lane. And I love all the lanes.
Does that create a problem for you?
No.
Okay.
No, it's like I might only get one nude portrait every 2 years. Now, if I focused on them, maybe I'd get 5. Like I tried focusing on just the art of a woman, and it didn't work. And I am more focused on the Storybook Portraits right now, marketing them. But anybody who goes to the website is going to see I do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
I call it a full service studio.
Can I have a quick question, Rob? If it's this one here that I'm showing now, that one that you composited all that 3 generations together, did you composite that, or do you have an actual retoucher that do that for you? Or
I do all my retouching. I don't do my painting.
Okay.
Because you can be a master of a lot of stuff, but you can't be a master of everything, and you need to know when to.
Cool.
So I did receive 2 merits this year for painted portraits, and my blog has, information about that. I got it on the blog. So I had all 5 accepted with 2 merits this year.
So you're doing a good variety of stuff. I've often referred to that style as you're like the Swiss Army knife, and that's how I sort of define my studio. I do this, and this, and well, predominantly fairies are my biggest money, but you can niche out and do high end, sort of say boudoir or glamour or headshots in a larger city if there's a market for it. But then again, it begs the question: would you be happy just doing that one thing? I don't know.
I would be bored, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I if I had enough, I guess I wouldn't be. But what were we just talking about? Something came to mind, and it just went right out.
Paint.
Oh, baby's first year. You said your biggest money maker was
baby's first year. Yeah.
Was fairies.
Yeah, they are now. Yeah.
And I'm doing okay with my Storybook Portraits. I'm just starting to develop albums that tell the whole story. So the fishing portraits, I mean, they have a basket, they have their stick with the string on it, and I've got a can of rubber worms, and they go on a fishing trip. And one little guy, we had the worm on the he was about 3, worm on the string, and he's fishing, and then Michael, before COVID, went in and said, oh, that rod's not working, try this one. And we had the fish tied to the second one, and they look exactly the same. So the fish is put in the pond, and then when he goes to pull, he realizes there's a fish on. He pulls it up, he grabs it, and he goes, he ate the worm. It's so magical. It's so magical. So to do a whole story, like there is a video there just above. There's a video for those who want to go and look at it. I got one. That's a video, not the boy that said he ate the worm.
Yeah.
And I just videotape. This is photography and words to tell the story in an album. I don't videotape because I'm one person and I don't have, Michael helps out. But the first time Michael helped in the fishing, I said, I need to get that shot again, so go find another pond or whatever. And he says, oh, that didn't work. We need to come back and do that again. I said, no, that's not what you say to the kids. You say, this pond has no fish. Let's go find another one. And you leave the pond and you go around in a circle and you come back again to the same pond and let me get a picture of him coming in with the pole over his shoulder, right?
Yeah.
So he's really a great assistant now, but at the beginning, not so much.
Well, you know how to talk to kids, obviously, and I know what you're saying, and that's so important. You got to get in
fox there.
Well, I remember you saying to me, "How did you get her to lean over like that?" And I said, "I told her to look in the crystal ball and see what the future holds." Because the little sister was holding the crystal ball, and the big sister was holding the lamp, and she leaned over to look in the crystal ball. So it created a nice little, but I absolutely love your fairy portraits, and they're very gorgeous.
Well,
I love them.
I'm liking what you're showing us here on the screen. This is quite mind-blowing. Very, very artistic. So are you selling lots of these? Are they moving? Are the people lining up? I can't see it being otherwise, especially in a city the size of Calgary, where you've got a lot of families and kids. And
I wish. I wish. So like I said, I think I kind of found my marketing niche. And so I had applied to the Spruce Meadows market. It's a live Christmas market, and it's a curated market.
Okay.
They don't just take your money and give you a booth. You used to have to wait till somebody died to get a booth.
Oh, what's it called?
Spruce Meadows Market. Christmas market. So they have different things there. So the first market I went to was the Masters. So it's an equestrian site. So I went to the Masters and I paid for a booth, and a woman went and saw who's the vendors, and she went to my website and she came and looked for me, and she bought a baby's first year.
Nice.
And last year, I had a baby's first year. I photographed this woman during a weight loss program, and she never bought any of the images, before and after images. And I did a lot of work for Gold's Gym on this, Biggest Loser, Biggest Loser. Sorry, I'm going to leave that.
That's okay.
Look, she's getting clients calling her during the show.
There you go. That's what's happening. How do you silence this? I don't know how to silence it. And it's a telemarketer, of course. So this woman called me up and said, "Hey, I just had a baby, and I'm hoping to do baby portraits." So she came in, and I sold her baby's first year, and she spent $22,000 in her baby program.
You're after the right market. Woohoo!
She doesn't have friends that are pregnant, or she said, I thought I should do baby pictures. And she said, so can I book a newborn session? Her baby was 8 weeks old or 9 weeks old. I said, we need to act really fast and know newborns are 10 days or less, or 2 weeks or less. So you're not going to get newborn, but we almost did. The baby slept, and she loved them.
Wow.
And then we just finished her baby's first year.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you started plugging into that market via Spruce Meadows, and that opened up what for you?
Well, I'm a bit of a hermit, so I was kind of struggling with marketing. And being at Spruce Meadows, I had the first baby's first year. I only got one client, but I got a lot of people signing up for my Prestige Members Club, which John, you had asked about. So you go to a market. My sessions were $250. And when I was going to Spruce Meadows, I'm going, these are going to be clients that expect something special. And if they say, what's the investment, which is the questions I was getting, what's the investment to work with you? if I say 250, they're going to walk away. So I doubled my session fee to 500.
Okay.
And I had 2 painted portraits, 30-inch painted portraits on display. And then I had all the children's storybook portraits and some traditional portraits and gorgeous, gorgeous cards. Let me see if I've got one here.
You had that on display at Spruce Meadows, right?
Yes. And at the I didn't have as good a display at the first one, but the second one I got a 12 by 12 stable. Now it sounds stinky and everything, but they power wash them out. Right. And I had portraits all the way around that room and a table with a computer where I could sign them up for the Prestige members, because nobody's going to just drop $500 at a trade show. I mean, I was ready to take their money, but it wasn't happening. So my big goal was to get people signed up for the wait list. So I only do each session once a year. I was saying a maximum of 10 sessions for fairies or ancient castle or, you know, fishing or whatever. But I think I'm going to reduce that to 6.
I got to ask you a question. Did you go to the strategy of calling it a wait list because it was legit, you were so busy you had to put them on a wait list, or you just did that for the optics? The optics being, we're kind of exclusive here. We'll get, and it's kind of a lead generation strategy, although some might say it's a little bit
a strategy for sure, but not, it wasn't just to make it look like, if you want fairy portraits, they're not available right now. They're available in the summer. Yeah. Hoping to sell out. And
get on the wait list.
I'm hoping to sell out, but I don't know, right? So if you're on the wait list, you'll be the first one to know.
Yeah.
I will contact you and give you the available dates. So
fair enough. Fair enough.
I didn't make it sound like I'm selling out.
Because no. I wasn't taking it that way. Yeah. So I got to ask you a question about Spruce Meadows. How many days does that event run, and what did it cost you, if you don't mind me asking?
It might have, I don't remember. I think the two, one of them was 3 or 5 days in a row, the Masters. The other one was three-day weekends in November.
Yeah. And how many vendors are on display there? It sounds like, you ever heard of?
It's like a Christmas village. It is huge. And so I was in Candy Cane Lane, which was those 12 by 12 booths. And everybody's like, oh, you should be out in the main hall where you can't even hear yourself talking to somebody. People would walk by. So there's bars, you know, and then the big door that slides open to let the horses in and out. People would walk by and go, oh, you know, and then if they saw me looking, oh, I'm just looking. But some people would come in and I would have one-on-one time with people. Yeah. Answer their questions and ask if they'd like to be on the wait list. And I signed up 80 people at the Christmas market, and I'm still photographing them.
Wow. I love it. We don't have anything like that in my city.
No.
I love it.
I'm in a small town, so we don't either.
Yeah. And the thing is, I'd been at the woman's show. I never got one client. It cost me $1,800, and they charged extra for electricity and for this and for that. And I had a nice display, and I had giveaways. Oh, Spruce Meadows does not allow giveaways.
No.
No draws, no lowering the value. And my boyfriend, when he first kind of started seeing me, he said, why do you print your pictures so big? Like, they're actually small, but I don't have a big enough wall to make it look. I don't like it to be oversized for the space, so I show things appropriate to the space I have to show them in. Then we go to Spruce Meadows Masters, and it was mostly artwork. And he came back to my booth and he said, did you notice anything about your work? And I said, I'm the only photographer here, or only people photographer, because there was landscape and stuff like that, and horses, you know, but nobody else was a portrait photographer. He said, no, it's way too small.
Oh, really?
Because the paintings were like, you know,
so he got it. He got it.
Yeah.
I found one of my best avenues for marketing with my, like I do a pinup, sort of like Mike Long pinups. It's like a 1960s pinups. And one of my best strategies is I actually go to bridal shows in town.
Yeah.
And they're not expensive, but the brides love to do it. And they've actually been talking to me, can we do one with our bridal party where we can get a deal for me and my bridesmaids to come in and do a group one, which I think is a great idea, but it's a great marketing play for your women and stuff like that.
Yeah, I thought about going there for the, you know, I just haven't had time. I've really been focusing. My business cards, that's the other thing, which I do have one. My business cards are 6 by 9.
Yeah.
Nice.
They're printed on watercolor paper. They're $1 a piece. And so I have one of these below each of the portraits, the different style portraits. Not one. I have a
stack
holder, you know, the holders alongside each one. And they say, oh, do you have a business card? And I said, well, which portrait are you interested in? And they go, I really love the Victorian. I said, oh, well, here you go. Oh, well, do you have a business card? I said, that is my business card. Oh, well, how much is it?
$10. Pay me now. That's amazing. I love it.
They're just got really simple stuff. It has no pricing. But the way I got people to sign up right now for the wait list, if you're a Prestige member, you get $100 print credit. And once you book a session, pay for it, you get $100 towards your order when you have your portraits done. And so my portraits start at $300, and I should have had one of my desk art up here, but they're mounted, beveled edge. You can either get a built-in easel or the sawtooth to hang it on the wall for an 8 by 10. Yeah. But if you've got 6 of them, they can be a nice little collection on the wall. So those start at $300, and I was giving away 2 5 by 7s with it because I know I need $300 to retouch an image. So you get 2 gift prints complimentary and the digital file to share on Facebook. So what I learned with Numberoo, my training through Numberoo with Melissa Welsh's program on how to build your business plan, how to price, how much money do you need to make, how many sessions do you need to do? Oh my God. And the training with that program is amazing. Next one's starting up right away here. I'm not sure exactly when, but I can send you the information if you wanted to send it out to your group. But she said, like, I'm giving away these gift prints. I would be selling them for $50, but my clients don't know they're getting $100 value. And if you say you're getting $100 value, they go, well, I don't need the gift prints. Just give me the portrait for $200. Right. So anyway, in my coaching with Numberoo, I figured it out, but it was because of the guidance I was getting from Jillian. I can't say her last name, but she just is a nominated for Commercial Photographer of the Year with VPOC this year. So she's an amazing coach too. So she was just giving me some guidance on my price list and my packages and stuff. And then I went, oh, so instead of giving them 2 gift prints, I'll give them $50 to spend on gift prints.
Right.
And so instead of getting 2, they get 1. And then when they get the next size up, they get $75, the next size up for each image they order.
Right.
And she suggested a $500 maximum. So, you know, the work's already been done on them and you're just paying for the print. And I offer the ability to buy the master print, which is the one with protective finish. So you don't need to have glass in front of it. I don't have glass in front of my portraits.
I know, I hate that.
Yeah, that's how I got them to. And then I'd say if you sign up at the show or before the show is over, you'll get a $200 print credit.
I got to ask you a question. They're signing up. They're just getting on the wait list. Is that what you mean?
They're signing up for the Prestige Members Club. It allows them to earn referral credits.
Okay. It's a club. Is it a club they pay to belong to, or is it just a club?
It's free. Gotcha. It's basically my newsletter.
Okay, gotcha. You're just giving it a nice name. I love it. I love it. I'm just confused though because, you know,
it makes it sound more expensive the way she's wording it.
Yeah, and it's got an opt-in box to receive the emails. So I can't. I use PhotoBiz. I absolutely love them. They give you unlimited on the phone. They answer the phone when you have technical questions of how to do something. And so you have your whole client contact list there, and they have to opt in for you to be able to email to them. You can email through PhotoBiz. You don't have to use Constant Contact or Monkey Chimp or whatever it's called. It's all in one place. It gives you tracking. They are just great. And so if they don't opt in, you can still send conversations. They're one-on-one, so they're emails. You can still send an email, but it keeps all under their contact. So I love it.
That's pretty cool. Okay.
And then when I do the pond, I print out my list. Right now I've got about 20 people on the pond list, and it's not necessarily the right time. So it's easy to call up and say, hey, my pond is opening. Are you ready to do a pond photo? But we're in COVID and we don't know if people are working there or not. So I touch base and say, hey, how is your family doing? Have you been able to, get through this time? And I start off just touching base and then say, you were on the wait list, and I don't know if this year's going to work for you, but your kids are getting older. At some point, they won't want to put a fairy dress on. They'll be getting a prom dress.
Yeah. So this Prestige Club is obviously segregated into separate sub lists specific to their sort of what
it's one club, and then there's wait lists. So if you go to the the Storybook Portraits. The Storybook Portraits is the only one that has a wait list, I believe. So when you sign up, you'd say what you're interested in. So if you said baby, right? I might make the baby's first year more exclusive. That I might only take one a year because it's 4 or 5 sessions. Yeah. And I can only do 1 session a week because I can see 3 people a week on site. Right. According to my business license. That's 1 design session, 1 photography session, 1 order session.
You have a basic business license. Is that limited by the fact that you're in a condo, or just because of the city's laws?
Both. Laws? If I would have gone for the next level, I would have had to put a sign outside to get permission from everybody in the condo, or not have them complain to the condo board. Yeah. And the last condo board tried to kick me out.
Oh, really?
Do you have previous permission from a previous board? I said, yes, I do. They said, could you provide proof? It was from 2007.
When did they try and kick you out?
3 years ago.
So they failed?
Oh, they failed. I could not find the document, right? No, and they said, well, we're rescinding that. And if you continue to see clients, we're going to charge you $100 a week. And I went, they said I needed to find commercial space, and I needed to show a signed contract that I had a commercial space somewhere else. So I looked around a bit, $4,000. I have so many props and everything. My garage is half full of, sets and cost. I have a full wardrobe, a full wall of wardrobe in the garage, and more in my spare room, and more in the basement, and then props
Is it like a townhouse condo complex?
No, they're like duplexes. I have 2,300 square feet, a double garage, and a not really a full basement
but a condo nevertheless. You got to tell me a little bit more about this situation you had with them. Did they back down and they'll never bring it up again, or where's it at now?
They got kicked off the board.
Why? Unanimous?
The whole board got kicked out
by all the members.
By the owners. We had 69% on the first resolution that we did. We had 58% the second time because they wouldn't go. And then it went to court, and the judge said you need to have a new annual meeting. You have to have a new annual meeting and have a vote. And they got voted off, and they put their name on to be voted back in. They voted back in. We've had 2 more AGMs since then. They keep putting their name in. They
really want to be in control, don't they?
Oh, they're control freaks.
We have the same problem, by the way. The reason I'm asking, I'm fascinated by this, is we have the exact same problem. My wife and I are in a townhouse condo, and we're like, don't these people have something better to do? All they do is peek over your fences and And so for anybody in a similar situation, it sounds to me like your advice would be, don't back down, don't take any shit from anybody. they're probably a bunch of troublemakers, and if you fight back hard enough, at least they'll be.
Well, you know, I was so fortunate because I wasn't the one fighting back. I had people that said, wrote letters to all the owners saying, why are these people picking on Shelley? Because she's the kindest, sweetest woman, and she isn't,
not hurting anybody.
Why were they picking on you, Shelley? What is your opinion?
I don't know, because I have a bench underneath a tree outside. They wanted that moved too, and they were definitely picking on me. I was ready to go to elder abuse. Report them
mess with Shelley and you lose your job.
So but people are petty. They want to get on these boards and they like to be. They turn into Nazis, but sometimes they're jealous or they just get into petty.
And I don't know. I mean, I had one of the old board members say, "Oh, Shelley doesn't look after that dog, Mozart, my big poodle. She lets him poop all over the complex." And my neighbor who had his half brother said, "She does not." Well, I'll show you. She said, "Yeah, you show me. I'm a Mozart poop expert," because she took him for walks and said, "That's not Mozart's poop." So she was one of the board members, right? She was just out to get me, and I don't know.
All right. So, but you obviously you don't want to push your luck and start breaking the rules insofar as how many people you can have in there.
No, I don't do that. But I can have, I could do 3 sessions in 1 week and do 3 order sessions the next week.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. But I had 0 complaints.
Right. Until.
In all those years, from 2007 till whatever it was when they were trying to throw me out. And I went door to door and I got people to sign if they supported me having my business. And most of the people said, "I didn't even know you ran a business."
That's how quiet you were.
It's so quiet. And my next door neighbor, she's attached to me. We're kind of like duplexes. She said, "You don't bother me." The person right beside me, it's not a problem for me. I had 85%. So if it would have gone to a resolution, I would have been fine.
And it actually went to court too. You said a judge?
No, that was the old board being on the board. Yeah, that was their attacks on me. Wasn't all they did. They ripped out all the sidewalks and charged us $5,000 each to put in new ones that are way worse and slip.
So they're inept, and that's why they got booted out. Okay,
sound like just a control factor. They just want to be.
They're just now. The one person said, "I will never go off the board over my dead body."
Really?
Thankfully, we didn't have to do that.
Nobody got killed.
Nobody died.
Interesting. Okay, so you're kind of limited with how many visitors you can have, so that sort of puts a bit of a, but in a sense, it sounds to me like you're working that to your advantage with your Prestige Club. And just if I can go back to the fact that you do these theme sessions throughout the year. So when somebody signs up for, I don't know how many sub lists you have. Let's just say there's 7 or 8.
There's 12. Let's say there's 12.
Okay. So, and you're going to do the fairy portrait one on, let's say, June. They get their advance notice because they're in the club. We're booking out our fairy for the whole month or 2 weeks or whatever. First come, first serve, obviously. And you're the only ones that are getting notifications. So I'm not putting this out there to the world, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's the basic model right there. So that works 12 months out of the year, more or less, roughly speaking, right?
Yes, I'm still perfecting it, but that's
the model. I love that idea, by the way, and it really answers the problem, or not the problem, but it answers the challenges that you would have given the fact that you're limited with your business license, which is cool.
Right, and and with the numberoo, it really helps you look at how many clients do you want. I'm after I finish my business plan this year, I think we're at 38, 38 for the year. And then how much do I need as an average? And I think it was 2,200, which sounds so doable, but you still have to get 28 clients, which sounds so doable.
Is it working out?
If I could have had Spruce Meadows again last fall, I would be laughing. I'm sure of it. But it was COVID. We didn't have it. So I don't have new people, and people are still leery. I made 20,000 more the year of COVID than I did the year before. The year before was a bad year, I'll admit. But I had, in December 19, I had the Spruce Meadows. And then I had clients through the year. from them, even though COVID, because I was shut down for 3 months. So being closed completely for 3 months, I still did 20,000 more than in 2019.
It's kind of weird because we experienced pretty much the same numbers over the year before. It blew me away. We were only open for 7 months, and I'm like, what the hell? I'll take it. But why do you think that is?
I think because I'm getting the right clients. Like I did a complimentary session for the night before Christmas with a surprise visit from Santa. Now he gave me introductory pricing on his. He's amazing. He's the real thing. And so I did a complimentary, and I said, I just need you to help cover Santa. So he did $100 for 1 day, and I did 2 sessions that day. So I can do 3 sessions in 1 day. I just can't do anything else for another 6 days.
Nice.
So, but my preference, and before COVID or in COVID, it's 1 a day, because then I got to sanitize and everything, and that's going to take a while when I've got this thing on. So I did the session, and then the one mom, she bought a little box with some 5x7s in it, and since she bought 11, I had those all retouched for her. So I did about 10 more, and I developed a sample album. And then I sent the video of the sample album to the other client. And I said, you know, I've got, and I do a video for every child. I use Pro Select. So every session has a slideshow video. And so I showed, she had seen it, and I said, you know, I'm just wondering if you want to order, you know, at least 1 image from your like for Christmas session. And she said, actually, I was thinking of getting an album like the one you did for Trish. So yeah, so I started the year with a $3,400 album sale.
That's pretty good. That's the way to start.
I charge per image. So I said 10 images for $2,500, and she had selected 28. So I did the slideshow again with all of the images she liked. And then when I said, she said, can I pick which 10? I said, absolutely. So we went through, and we had to take out 8 or whatever, however many. She might have had 18 or 20. So we had to take them out. So she couldn't take them all out. She really wanted, so she bought 4 extra, so, or however many. So it was 3,500 basically.
Wow.
So a complimentary session, a giveaway. She'd already worked with me. I don't do, I needed to build a portfolio for that session. And so he did the go to bed and say your prayers, and it showed Santa over the moon and all that. You know, so she had a little bit different session than the other boy.
Yeah.
But, I only give portfolio building sessions to people who have paid to work with me in the past.
All right.
And preferably ones that also spent good money. Because if they bought 1 8x10 the first time, they're probably not going to spend much more on the second session.
I love the model that you've taken, and you've kind of evolved to that level with your overall business approach now. And it's kind of determined in the sense by some of the limitations you have with your business license, but the fact that you're going to the high end Spruce Meadows, building up your list, the Prestige Club and all that stuff. It sounds like a real ideal makeup of all the right elements that really addresses your specific situation.
Well, I knew I needed to get my work in front of people, not just online. So I did try baby and tot shows, and they weren't too expensive. People love my work, and I signed up maybe 20 people each day. So I had a fair number of people. I did the baby tot show 2 years in a row. I don't think I've booked one of those yet. They're on my wait list, but I don't think I've booked any of them.
Do you pitch them with offers, or I mean,
because they're on the wait list. I send out the email, and I ask them if the offer is, if you book now, I'll give you an extra print credit. So basically they end up with their first print complimentary. Yeah. Based on that. But they go to those shows to get what's being given away for free. So I am not wasting my money and my time to do more shows that have free draws.
Okay.
because I've done 3 now over all those years. The 2 Baby and Tot shows were just before I said that's not working, and actually got accepted into Spruce Meadows.
Mm-hmm.
So,
which is a prestige place to be. It sounds like you're going to stick with them for ever.
I'm praying that they're going to have a live market again this year. It's like a village. It's just like you're going into a winter wonderland Christmas theme. Everything's decorated. The owners of Atco, do you know Atco?
No.
Anyway, they own the Atco oil and gas.
Okay. There's a picture on a website, familyfuncalgary.com. I believe it looks like it's called the Spruce Meadows International Christmas Market.
Yep, that's it.
And there's a picture there. It was like taken from up high, and there's a Christmas tree at the end of the hallway. It looks very, very magical.
It is magical. And this year we have an online market, and I'm not able to put a link to say sign up for my Prestige Members Club. They want to keep people on the market, right? So I have my portraits available for $500, but people don't go to a website and drop $500. Any more than they go in person and drop it when they can actually talk to me and see my work in person. So it's not working, but it's giving me one more touch. You have to touch people how many times these days? 10 or 12 before they actually hire you?
Keep touching them.
Yeah. So if they see me at the market online, and they see me on Facebook, and they see me here, and they see me there. Yeah, that's the road in at Christmas time. So they did have the light display this year, but the actual market, it's little buildings, and like it is magical.
How many vendors are there?
Hundreds.
It sounds like you ever heard of One of a Kind out of Toronto? They have it every fall and every spring. It's massive. It's like 2 weeks long now. It's sort of the same idea. Very exclusive.
Yeah, that's where you want to be.
Very. It's what was the term you used? They got to be qualified. So
curated.
Everybody's curated.
And the art field knows that word, right? Curated.
Yeah.
And I just want to mention something about awards, because photographers, especially that are not part of an association and don't put their work out there and get awards, maybe, I don't know why but they say my clients don't care about awards. And you're right. Your clients probably don't. But the people who can put you in front of your ideal client cares. So there another marketing idea that really has worked for me. I haven't had an opportunity to do it again, but I will if I get the opportunity again. It has been giveaways, and that's with fundraisers like the burn unit. The firefighters do this amazing event for the burn unit to raise money for the burn unit. And I said, can I set up a table, and I'll show my art of a woman, because they were doing a kind of a risque kind of theme. They were doing a night in Paris the first time and a night in Tokyo the second time that I got involved. And the guy said, no, we've worked with photographers before. We don't want you. Because, convention, and they say, oh, you got to get into auctions at live events. And then these brand new photographers come back and they get in, but they blow it.
They blow it. So they had a bad experience.
You have to be able to deliver not just the portraits, but also when you can show. I've been published on Professional Photographers, the PPA magazine that goes to 60 countries. I've won Portrait Photographer of the Year for Canada, 2012, 2014 for Alberta. When you can show that you're legit, then they might think about it. But anyway, I convinced him to let me put a table up, and I have certificates, and I sell them for 50% off because I want to sell as many as possible. Basically, it's a client in the door for me, and all the money went to the burn unit, went to the charity. So they were $250, and it gave them their session, and I think maybe one print, because back then it was $250 for a session. So you can sell 6, 8, it depends on the crowd that comes, but they're drinking and having fun, and they spend money.
Yeah.
Sometimes you never get them in for their session, but then you've still done good by giving $250 to the burn unit. So
yeah, I'm on the website showing all the different vendors for meadows, and it's quite amazing. A lot of diversity there, and yeah, I'm happy for you that you're in there. I got to ask you a question about that though. How many do you have? 12 lists or?
Go to my website real quick, and I'll bring up I'll point you in the direction of the wait list. Go to the Storybook Portraits.
Okay.
And there'll be put my name on the wait list before you go into a specific one.
Okay.
Okay. Let me just get that.
And
I have a follow-up.
2 more. I've got the gingerbread house that I just developed and Night Before Christmas that I just added. So I think there probably is 12, but some are more popular than others. So
where am I going?
Prestige.
Go down, roll down till you see all the colorful pictures. No. Go back.
On the main?
Go main page and just scroll down. Right there, the colorful ones. So the reason they're not all in color, it would be mind-boggling. It would just be so busy, right? So everything else. Okay, now go down, and it says somewhere it'll say, right there, put me on the wait list.
There we go.
So this is the general wait. So you can pick as many as you want. So that'll hopefully it's working.
It is. It's just I gotta go to a different screen here.
Oh, then you got to show the different screen.
Yeah.
So you can go into the fairy pictures, and it'll say put me on the wait list, and it'll go specifically to the fairies, and it'll tag them. But in the general one, you see the list of all the ones.
Right.
I have to manually go in and tag them once they use this form.
Okay.
I have to go in the back end.
A little bit of work, but
I noticed when I went into the Prestige Club. When you scroll down, it says sign up here.
What's the difference, Shelley?
When you're signing up to be a member of the Prestige Club, you're signing up to receive emails. When you're opting into the Prestige Club, you're opting in to receive emails about mother-daughter portraits, about the wait list is only for the ones that are available for a month or 2 each year.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, yeah, because I have the 2 studios, I could have the Winter Wonderland in the basement, and I could have, a family portrait upstairs.
Gotcha.
So it is limiting. Sometimes I have to use like right now, the Ancient Castle is a full-sized set. It's not a tiny children's set. And I can't even get some of the small walls to my basement. So if it requires the big sets, they're upstairs. So then I've only got my 7-foot ceiling available for other things.
Yeah. So can I ask you a follow-up to that then? Do you notice a trend with one of those categories really pulling in more than anything else? You know, the old 80-20 rule, which is normally how things play out. You'll notice like, oh, these seem to be the most popular and the most profitable. Is that something you've noticed?
Well, I expected it to be the fairies, but in all honesty, it's been the fishing.
Really?
The fishing has a whole story to it, and I'm just really getting these going. I'm still developing sets. So I think if I could get a Santa that looks as good as the one I've already used, that I could, even if I could do, Christmas in July and have it through July, I think that would really sell. But he said, I go hiking in the summer, so he's not going to come. And now he's saying it's $200 to come at all, and it has to be at 10 in the morning because, he's a Santa at the mall in the afternoon. So I have to find a Santa that wants to be exclusive and not have 100 kids on his lap every day.
John will dress up for you.
He needs to grow a real beard that's white.
Yeah, that's the only thing I don't have. I have the suit and everything, but
hair doesn't matter because you can put it. Because I don't want the fake beard. It has
I know. I do Santas at the mall here, and I have 2 Santas. When my main one and one that fills in for him when he can't do it, and they both have their real beards. So
that's important, isn't it?
It makes a difference.
It is. It really is important. But I just want to touch on the whole idea of what becomes popular. You can't really market this with SEO, I don't think. I'm just starting to try that. I hired some people to make my SEO consistent across Bing and Google and Yelp and Facebook and all the different platforms. So I'm spending $100 a month on that because I went, according to Numberoo, I'm not spending enough in marketing. Maybe that's why I don't have those 38 clients. So let's take another leap of faith and do that. But when I'm posting things on Facebook, then I do a boost. So when it gets good reaction, I'll boost it. And I picked an audience that is from Red Deer to Lethbridge to, you know, quite a big area around me. I've had people come from BC, in Edmonton. But somebody doesn't go, oh, I want to do fishing down by the pond portraits. Like, what do you put in as a search word, right? But when they see it pop up on their Facebook and they go, oh, wow, what is that? I want to do that. Oh, that looks fun. Like, that's how you have to get it in front of people, whether it's digitally or whether it's at a market. You have to get this work in front of people. Fairy portraits, I'm thinking they might Google that, because you do tend to see that a little bit. But the gingerbread house, the winter wonderland, snowball fights, and sending your letter off to Santa, and then coming back for the night before Christmas and having Santa show you the letter you wrote to him. Like, that's magical.
But
nobody knows that's available until you get it out there. So I think I'm just going to keep growing, and you know, I hope once I can't work for 4 to 6 weeks. I had 3 sessions coming up in the next 5 weeks. So I'm going to postpone at least the first one. We'll see how that goes.
Well, can I make a suggestion too? Is video is a big thing. And I know you said you're only one person, you don't do video yet, but maybe it's worth it for some of your stuff to hire a videographer to come to your in the pond ones or whatever, just for one session, and do some behind the scenes, because I find it with my business, video is really starting to take off.
Yes, and I did do that for the Winter Wonderland, and he still hasn't developed the video. Like, I wanted a advertising 30-second, 1.5 minutes, however long. And at the end, I'm sitting in the snow and I'm throwing the snow up in the air and it's falling down on me, and, you know, it's fake snow. But, you know, I get to have kids in the Winter Wonderland. They don't get cold. And if you want rosy cheeks, I can give them rosy cheeks after the fact. But they're not going to be crying about the cold.
No.
So
yeah, it sounds to me like you're doing a lot of things right, and you're growing and expanding. And as soon as that COVID thing's gone too, things might really open up. If you get back to Spruce Meadows, that would be amazing.
Yeah. And I think I would have had more bookings, you know, this last 4 months. February, I'll be honest, sucked. I didn't cover my costs at all in February. And now I had 3 sessions, you know, and they're not going to happen.
Well, we were closed down half of February here in Ontario, because we were closed down from Boxing Day till February 10th, till they finally let us open.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So January, February kind of sucked for us too.
I want to.
January, I got that one album.
I want to just mention one thing about Facebook ads. And so we use Facebook 100% for all our promotions. We create our Fairy Day. And it's like I've given up on all other marketing because it works so well for us. But I was thinking you might have if you couldn't have a Fairy Day, because you're limited with how many people you can have coming each week to your place. So, but you probably still could run an event based on a Fairy Day, but you have to selectively book them throughout the month that you're going to have that sort of available to them. So it might still work in that respect, but I'm glad you mentioned Facebook, and it's a legitimate thing, and certainly works for us like huge.
Well, and your price point is different. Like, I did have somebody contact me today. It showed my ancient castle portrait with the little girl with the crescent moon, and it said, put it on Marketplace. And I thought, yeah, that's like putting it on buy and sell, whatever. So anyway, I thought, why not? I just clicked it and said, sure. And I got a response this morning, and she said, is this still available? The automatic question. I said, it will be. I had a session to book, not this coming weekend, but the weekend after. I had an opening, and before when I clicked that. And so she said, well, I said, do you want to go on the wait list? And she said, this is through text. I hate trying to do anything through texting people. It's not well enough for me. So she said, perhaps, but I want to know how much it costs,
Mm-hmm.
how much the investment is. A little bit different clientele, right? So I said, can I give you a call? Because I broke my wrist and it's not very easy for me to type. So maybe that's why she gave me her number. So she gave me her number and said, call me after 8. And I called her, and I gave her, you know, that it's a whole one day, and, you know, there's no rush. It's not a 15-20 minute session. It's like how long your child's having fun. And, you know, I have all the different colors of costumes. That's the princesses. Yeah. So I've got velvet, gorgeous dresses in like pinks and blues and royal blues, and just beautiful outfits in all different sizes from 3 to 12. So, you know, I chatted with her about what the experience was about, and then I told her it was $500. So I said, I'll send you the link to, I said, I do a lot of different themes. And so I sent her to the page of all of them. I said, have a look at all of them. Feel free to go on the wait list for any that you might be, any and all of them that you might be interested in. But I think the reason the pond is doing so well is there's stuff for girls.
Right. There's
not as much stuff for boys. And boys don't want to go get the picture taken. But if we're going to go on a fishing trip.
It's different.
When you take an 8-year-old and say, we're going on a fishing trip, they say, these fish aren't real. But when you get a 3, 4, 5, they're like, he ate the worm, right? So, and the moms want something special. If they only have boys, it's usually moms with 1 boy or 2 boys and no girls. And the one family that's booked for the first session in April, which we'll probably have to get to postponed a bit now, because it takes a week to take down the castle and put together the pond. So there's a week where I won't be photographing.
Yeah.
But she has a boy and a girl, and she's going to do the fishing with both. And this session here was a boy and a girl.
Nice.
So, you know, and then they want their girl as a fairy and their boy fishing, and I'll give them both sessions for the price of one.
Yeah.
But if you're doing a fishing trip, it doesn't work to have the girl, like, it has to be 2 separate sessions on the same day, because it's one client. So it doesn't affect my business and stuff. But and then they still want 1 picture with the 2 kids in it.
Yeah.
It's the same set. It's the same pond. I change up the props to make it more girly for the girls.
Well, I like how Rob did it, because he used to do his fairy portraits always just the girls between this age, this age. He started adding boys and doing like a Game of Thrones or a knight type outfit, and it merged together really nicely. So that way you can tackle that market. I think it works too. So
it does in yours. I love those. But I've got the castle, and that's my princesses and my warriors. I've just started getting that one up.
Yeah. Well, you create an excellent look and product. I can't see it not working just about anywhere, as long as there's people and families out there who have money and kids.
That's getting it out there, right? It's getting it out.
Yeah. I was looking at some of your other ones there too, like the barnyard and stuff. That was really cool too.
Oh, the barnyard. That's another one that's so great for the boys. And actually one of those, I have to replace the photo. But the one with the 3 little boys where the milk can's on its side, I added fake milk. Now, my friend Don McGregor suggested that I redo it with real milk because it didn't look real. No, of course it doesn't look real. It's on the blog. If you go to the blog, you'll see the one with the fake milk. But
how can you tell the difference from fake milk?
Well, milk would soak in more. Okay. But yeah, I took the foam from the bubbles for the bath and I blurred it, and I, tried to make it look like.
These are adorable.
But the boys have so much fun. They just
look at that.
Oh, I did one little baby, and he wore chaps with a bare butt, and they won't be on Facebook or on my website, but chaps with a little bare butt. This little guy was just sweet, feeding like that's an empty pail, but he got right into it.
These are all your props. You got all these outfits.
This is the one where I added the milk because it didn't make sense, and I called it and it got accepted. And they said, redo it, keep them farther away from the barn. No, blur the barn a little bit. Because the set's only so wide, and you can't move it back 6 feet.
No.
So I got really good feedback. That's what competition's all about, right?
Right.
And this one here is the one with the little boy with his arm in the air. That one was at Spruce Meadows, and I had somebody try to buy that portrait. How much are your art pieces? And I said, well, this is actually a portrait session. The family brought their son to the studio, and we photographed him. Yeah. And she had a child with her, and I said, I could do the same for your child. And she said, oh, okay. And she walked away.
I thought you were doing like the new Ann Geddes of kids' portraits.
She wanted to buy the kid on the horse. Yeah. And not have her own child on her wall. I was just like, I was a bit flabbergasted. Those are actually my nieces, and this is done about 10 years ago, at least 10 years ago. They're in their 20s now.
They're all grown up.
I thought that doorway was actually just part of the backdrop. I didn't know you could actually go through that doorway.
You can take it out. Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
But now I'm learning how to do something different in the background. I have to plan what's back there.
Mm-hmm.
You know. It works well in the ancient castle because I put skies and I put stars and crescent moons. But
you put the moon. I love that moon in your.
Yeah, that's a crescent moon. But I use different ones. I use different moons.
Top right there, John.
Top right.
Top right.
And I'm about to do the little aviators. I'm about to do the little aviators again with the little baby that spent $22,000 so far. I'm going to do the little aviator. I've got the airplane, and I've got a red scarf, and I'm going to have Mom hold it out.
Uh-huh.
And then drop it just before I take each picture. I don't know how many times we'll have to do it. I'm hoping he'll be ready at about 18 months. It's a rocking horse.
Yeah. You got a lot of props all from off the wall, Larry's. Is Larry still selling that stuff?
No. He does sell backdrops and some stuff for his Santa. Like he teaches the Santa program, and he sells kits like with the backdrop and the digital stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and people, kids will say, is that a real kid in that picture? And parents will say, are these kids photoshopped into the, and I'm like, no, these kids are really there. It's three-dimensional. And yes, those are real kids. That could be you, I say to the little kids.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So the reason you don't have a kid in the one with the little airplane is because there's one inside that gallery of my niece and nephew about 10 years ago.
Nice.
So
I can sit and look at our stuff all day.
But I got that little airplane, the one that I took of my niece and nephew. They're just sitting on a tri-step. So I went, I need a little airplane. So one came up on Marketplace on Facebook, right. And I bought it.
Sold.
It was just wood, and I didn't like it. So Michael painted.
That's amazing. I'd love to get Larry, and you should put a good word for us. I asked him a bunch of years ago to do an interview, but I never followed up. My fault. But
well, I'm not really in touch with him much these days either. So
well, if I talk to him, I'll drop your name.
And that's amazing.
Yeah.
So he's moved from where he was in South Carolina to I think Florida now.
Right.
And yeah, so what an amazing photographer, though.
Was he not Canadian at one time?
He is Canadian still.
Right.
But he said he'd never come back to Canada because business was just too hard in Canada, and it's so much easier in the States. But we'll see how he feels after all of what's going on now. But Florida's safer, I think, for businesses than California.
Florida's open. Texas is open. What about Alberta? Are things, do you think they're going to close down again, or?
We were closed down. We can't have guests in our house. We can't have neighbors come in. Nobody
right now.
Right now. But as a business, photographers can have 25% capacity by appointment only.
Yeah.
And I'm home based photographer, so I can have people come in. And what's 25% of what? To me, I was already 25% of what.
Yeah.
You're good to go.
So I think I'm good to go. And I do the screening, and they have to wash their hands when they come in, and they have to wash their hands when they leave, and fill out the form, and I have to sanitize everything.
That's what we do. Fairy Day is crazy. We'll do 25 in one day, and we got to steam them, spray them, hose them down, and they
Yeah.
walk in with a mask, and if there's other clients there, we tell them to be careful.
Yeah, we
Well,
just did
I have
International
been-
Women's Day, and I had to wear a mask basically through the whole day because we had girls coming in and out getting their portraits done all day long.
Right, right.
Yeah, I have a steam dryer, and it has a sanitized setting,
Perfect.
and that was the best
Oh, very
investment
cool.
for my business.
Okay, well, we're coming up to an hour and a half, Shelley, believe it or not.
Wow.
In exactly 6 minutes, it'll be an hour and a half. So this has been a wealth of information. I'm totally blown away, and I'm excited for you, and I'm filled with gratitude for your willingness to come on board with us. And
Definitely, I learned a lot, and I know I'm going to try and incorporate some of what I learned from you in my business too. So,
yeah.
Well, I'd be happy to share anything that I can to follow up. Like if there's something in specific you want me to put in writing for you or anything.
Sure.
And I do mentor students. My last student it was a lot of work.
What is that?
So much for a 2-hour session, and they turn into 3 or 4 hour sessions, and they get off topic, and I'm like, we have to stick to the topic. Your time is up. We'll address that next session. So I'm going to get better and better at my mentorship program.
Yep. So where can people get in touch with you then? And we'll put that in the show notes, so to speak, if anybody.
Shelly at svpphotography.com.
Simple enough. Shelley, Shelley.
Yep.
At svpphotography.com.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't take 1 or 2 hour mentorships. I don't think anyone's going to really grow as a photographer without at least 4 months.
Right. Okay.
Every weeks.
We'll try to help.
It starts with a complimentary portfolio review, because I had somebody approach me and ask if how much I charged from Arizona, how much I charged to teach retouching 101. And I said, well, we need to start with looking at your portfolio. And I didn't say garbage in, garbage out, but
were you thinking it?
Yes, if we need to start with teaching you how to take photographs, how to use your camera, how to work with depth of field, whatever it is, then I'm not going to waste my time and your money teaching you how to retouch.
Yeah.
Try to fix something after the facts.
You could teach them that if they wanted to go back and sort of start at that level and work their way up.
Portfolio reviews about is to see where you are, and it helps them focus. What do they want to learn? And sometimes new photographers don't really know where they are in different areas, and
they need that.
So it's complimentary, and I end that with the first thing you need to work on is lighting or posing, or there's
Whatever
no point retouching if you need a strong image first, right?
So, quirky question. What's your favorite movie?
Oh my gosh. I'm not a movie buff.
Okay.
I'm not.
All right. Never mind. What's your favorite novel?
Grapes of Wrath, probably.
Really?
That's an oldie, isn't it?
It's a classic. Now I'm going to have to go read it just because you said that.
Oh, it's like this thick.
Yeah.
I read it in grade 8.
Yeah, but it's your favorite book, and you're like 63.
Well, it's one of my favorite. And I loved
it's a classic.
The one with the Gone with the Wind. I mean, I love that, but I feel like I'm wasting time when I'm watching movies, which is because there's so much gorgeous cinematography, and there was another one that I loved for the lighting and everything. And I should watch more movies because the cinematography, the lighting is so powerful. But I grew up on a farm, and if we weren't busy, Mom would say, if you don't have something to do, I'll give you something to do. And homework is homework, not schoolwork. You have 6 hours a day at school. You get home, you chop the wood, you milk the cows.
All right.
So, I've got that. I've got some limiting beliefs and behaviors that I.
You're of Dutch heritage, aren't you?
No, my husband was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. My maiden name is Collins.
Dutch are some of the hardest working people that I know. I just assumed so. And you're tall. You look like a Dutch lady, but
I'm 5'4". I'm not tall.
Oh, you're a tall personality.
Oh.
I remember you as being tall. It's in my head. I don't know.
I like how he tries to save himself after that.
It's true. It's true.
That's good.
So, okay, John, do you have any more questions? I'm going to ask one more. Okay, Canon, Nikon, or Sony?
Canon, that's what I started with. I started with Canon, and I picked it up, and it felt my very first camera was Minolta.
Yeah,
and
mine too.
Was very similar, but a Nikon, everything's backwards.
It is.
Yeah, I can't do the Nikon.
I had a Minolta X370N all manual camera. That was my first camera. And then I went to Nikon and slowly went to Canon and never went back.
Yeah, I had a film camera. It wasn't that old. I started probably later than you. But I had an underwater Nikonis, all manual. I just sold that at one of the things that the camera store puts on where they come and buy your equipment for next to them. I had the $1,000 wide angle lens, because the closer you get to your subject underwater, the less debris.
Yeah. Are you an underwater photographer, scuba diver?
I was certified as an underwater diver with PADI, and they did not like anybody to go underwater with a camera without their certification, because you need to pay attention to your depth and your air and all those things, right? And if you are fiddling around with the camera, you can suddenly be at 200 feet. And you're
like, what happened?
Are you still DSLR, or have you went mirrorless yet?
No, I'm not mirrorless. I did go to the 5D Mark IV because of the video being autofocus, which I haven't actually used.
The dual pixel autofocus that they got.
But you like it.
Well, I went to it because I thought I was going to get into doing a little bit of video, just short shots during the sessions, but I haven't had the time to really play with it. I get into my session and it's like a dance, right? You never know where it's going to go, and it doesn't go to the video.
I know. I always say I'm going to do behind the scenes of this and that, and I never, after the shoot's done, I'm like, oh darn, I didn't even do anything.
Something I started doing, because I don't like being in front of the camera, but I thought I need to put my profile photo as me. So then COVID struck, but I started having the parents take a picture of me with their child.
Right.
Can't do that with COVID. And partially because I see the stuff Robert puts out with, I've seen stuff with you with the kids.
I do it all the time, especially when they pull out their camera and ask, like, yeah, okay, can I do one with your kid?
Yeah, so I've been starting to put ones up, and so the one up right now is in the ancient castle, but I'm going to switch it to the one with the blue cape because I have a grad coming in, and she loved the ancient castle, but I'm not going to go with her Elsa blue prom dress. So she's going to do the Elsa blue prom dress in one set. So I've got my studio set up with two different sets right now on either end. So I'll shoot one way and then I'll shoot the opposite way.
Cool.
And I said, my blue cape will fit anybody. So I had to see how it was going to photograph it. Oh, it's gorgeous because it's velvet. It's got that little sheen. So
nice.
I let my boyfriend take a picture of me, but I want to put myself out there more.
So when are you getting married?
No.
That's a different show.
I got to get going because I got a grad coming in 22 minutes.
Marriage is not in the works.
I was just joking. I mean, really.
Thank you so much for having me, and I hope that your listeners or watchers or audience,
No, I think they got a lot of it. I mean, we had John Rumble and his friend Leo. We had Carla, Len, Maria even came on for a little bit there. I saw Maria Sampaio come on for a bit.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get her very, very soon. Yeah.
And I'm trying to get a guy that I know out of Kentucky to come on. I'm going to actually talk to him soon. I told Rob about a guy named Ben Markham. Phenomenal female photographer. He loves artwork, and he goes to the museums and looks at artwork and then mimics them. And he has the big golden frames and
hit him up.
Beautiful
Let's
stuff.
Get him in here.
Yeah, gorgeous stuff.
Larry. Maybe we'll have Shelly back again. It would be amazing to have you back.
Definitely.
And John, send me a link to your pinup. I do a little bit of pinup, like one every couple of years. Yeah. So it's not something that I've done as much as you, but I'd love to look at your work.
Yeah, definitely. I'll send you my video.
I took Mike Long's workshop.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Well, I learned it first from Mike Long when he came to one of Rob's Infernos here in Toronto area, and I met Mike then, and then since then I was hooked on his pinups. So
yeah,
they're fun.
Yeah.
They're fun. It's nice.
Not as good as Mike, of course. I mean, he's the master, but
it's nice when you get a client that invests in the outfits, the more authentic outfits. Some of mine are just with costumes, which
definitely. No, we'll get you hooked up.
I'm taking it up. I'm taking it up a notch.
And they're cheap though. These outfits now are cheap on Amazon now. You're looking at like $30-$40. They can get a full pinup outfit now.
Yeah, nice. And the quality has gotten a lot better.
A lot better.
Some of mine, they were pretty cheesy.
Yeah.
Cheesy. All right, let's fire this thing off, Johnny.
That's it. Well, thanks for coming out.
Love you guys.
We'll see everybody next time.
Bye-bye.